Welcome to the Loveland Report and Lone Ranger Show. I'm Cleve, Loveland, Central Florida's voice of real estate, alongside Bruce Woodburn, the Lone Ranger.
That's me.
We're going to be talking to you about the big three things in real estate and mortgages today. And we're going to talk about tariffs. Is that going to ripple through to housing? Probably will. Had sales were up in March over last year. Good news there. And then the Sleepy Joe hangover I'm seeing in the market out there.
The hangover
from Sleepy Joe's, nonsense for the past 4 years. So we'll go into that. What do you got going on this week?
Well, I think it's important that we really dive into interest rates, see what they've done this week, and yes, how are tariffs affecting the market? What other impacts are we having, and what other things are impacting the market right now? And I think that there has been a surge recently in buyers jumping in the market. And I really want to see what you've got, Cleve, when it comes to, are there more homes on the market right now, and what's going on in certain pockets of the market that are causing people to react? And then what loan programs are people seeking right now that tend to be most favorable?
Yep. So I just think right now, I mean, we're in the spring season. This is actually one of the busiest months,
Yep.
and as far as listings, and I've got some phone calls out to the Orlando Regional Realtor Association. We don't have our numbers yet. I don't know
what they're hiding.
I don't know why they're sitting on that for 2 weeks. I don't know. Somebody's
no
on
idea.
vacation. There's a glitch in the software, whatever, but nothing's come out about that, because that's how they feed all their news to the media also. And we're a little small part of the media. You and I are practitioners, but I like to know that so I can educate my sellers as to what's going on when they say, well, I don't want to go on the market now. Prices are falling, or what's my inventory look like around me? What are interest rates? The sheets they put out are very good as far as what's out there.
Oh yeah, they've got the numbers in there. I don't see any reason why they would not want to send them out. I don't know why they didn't, but for some reason we haven't gotten numbers.
No,
But
they built a big multi-million-dollar office right there off Lee Road and I-4, and I don't know. But I guess nobody's working. Need to know what's going on there. So, but I did see the sales for March were up there was over 3,000 sales. This is the metro area of Orlando, 4 counties. And there was 3,000 sales. Last year, we only had 2,600.
Yeah.
So up about 15%, so that's an increase, and rates were probably about the same, 6.7 last year.
That's about where they are now.
So that's there, but the market's moving there. We do have more inventory. I just wanted to know, have we tipped over into that buyer's market? And it is different for everybody.
And it's different in different pockets of the market. I was talking to Brandon Rhymes down in the Tampa Bay area, and he was saying that it is truly a balanced market in many of his areas down there. Here, Cleve, I've got one client that's up against multiple offers, and then I've got the next client that's getting everything paid for from the seller.
Yeah.
It's just all over
the
board.
important part is that your agent knows what's reasonable to offer and what to get and what to do. If there are multiple offers, what do you go in? Do you go in 5,000 over list? Do you stand pat on your offer? Where do you go? I mean, this is what a good agent tells you about. I just had I spend so much time educating some agents. I just had somebody send me a request for repairs for $40,000 on what a handyman can do for about $2,000. And it's disappointing. So I told him he's like, well, that's what the client wants. I said, well, maybe your team leader or your broker needs to, help you talk to that buyer, because that's not reasonable. We're going to go back on the market. We're not going to give you, $37,000 for these, basically making a house brand new when it's not, and they got a good price on it. And I had multiple offers on this one and negotiated this person up to a good price, and my seller was happy, but we're not going to do that. So we're not going to give away the farm.
Well, it's interesting because I see buyers jumping in the market, and what they'll do is they'll inflate the sales price to get the deal, and then they come back and renegotiate it. And that is a tactic that people use, Cleve, and you've seen it before, that, hey, look at, you got the winning offer because you came in the highest, and now we're in the inspection phases of the contract, and now you're coming back and asking for $40,000 worth of repairs, where you had other buyers that may have taken it. They may not have offered as much as that particular buyer was, but they may not have asked for any repairs either. So it's just all over the board. I don't quite understand where people are coming from. Do you really want the house? Is this house a fixer-upper? Did you go into it knowing it was a fixer-upper? Or is it Is it something you just tried to get the other buyers off of the contract so you were the
And
only
that's the
one
thing.
negotiating?
But if you are in a multiple offer situation and you say, well, I want 10,000 back because of some things I didn't notice in the inspection report, and they go, well, sorry, that means somebody else is willing to pay more than you. You're getting a good deal.
Right.
Get into it. And this is Bruce. I've never met anybody that took 13 months to find a home that actually enjoyed the process and found the great steal.
No.
I had a lady one time, I'll never forget, like the first couple of years in real estate, she wanted me to go knocking on the doors of foreclosures and calling the banks and call down to Wells Fargo and try and get a hold of the foreclosure department. I'm like, I'm sorry. No, sorry.
No, I'm not
No,
gonna
not
do
my
that.
world. MLS is the
Now we
retail
can
world.
pull up foreclosures. I
Yeah.
mean, you can pull up every
And
list of
there's hardly any
foreclosures.
of them, but there's impossible tasks. And those people need to just, if people just find the house they like, make out their wish list and their must haves, get the house you want, and then go back to their lives, they're so much happier.
Absolutely.
Don't fret over, oh my gosh, is this too much? I haven't sold a house to anybody that they lost money on,
Yeah.
literally, because they stay in them.
Yeah.
They're going to make money on them in the long run.
Hey, I want to talk to you a little bit about reverse mortgages because
Yep.
we're getting a lot more of that. You and I have a client that we're working with right now. And it was an interesting question because I have an entire reverse mortgage department. That's all they do is reverse mortgages. And they can really drill down on what the needs are and whether a reverse mortgage truly fits the client. But we have a client where he's of age, but she's not of age.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 62, she's in her 50s. He's I think in his 70s.
Yeah.
And he's had a reverse mortgage. He has one currently, wants to get rid of that property and get a new one. So I said, you can do that with your underage spouse. However, there are restrictions when you do it that way. And here are the restrictions. If you've got one of you that's not of age, the person that's of age is going to be able to we can create a line of credit for that person in a reverse mortgage. But if they pass, the line of credit's frozen.
Yep.
So the person that's underage can't tap into the equity.
Yep.
But the good news is they don't also have to sell the house either. A lot of people were afraid that if one of them died, you're going to be forced to
And they
sell the
changed that
house.
law several years
Yes,
ago, right?
they've changed all those laws.
And it's one way. I think the reverse is one way for somebody who's got limited income, just like fixed income, Social Security, not a lot of other pension income or investments. It's a good idea. It's a good idea.
I think that it can be a very good idea. I think that, matter of fact, on my show next weekend, I'm going to be interviewing my reverse mortgage specialist. So if you tune into my program on Sundays at 11 o'clock, the Lone Ranger radio show, we are going to interview a specialist on reverse mortgages. You guys can ask any questions you want. If you want to call or text me now with questions you may have about a reverse mortgage, you can do that now at 407-250-9144 for the Lone Ranger, or go to webringyouhome.com. Again, that's 407-250-9144. Cleve Loveland, also the voice of real estate here in Orlando, can be reached now at 407-352-8118 or cleveloveland.com. So reverse mortgages, very hot topic right now. Also, self-employed people. You're running across a lot of self-employed people right now.
Well, they finally just probably went through. Actually, they probably all filed extensions.
Of course, they filed extensions.
Now, can you
Nobody
still get?
files early that's self-employed.
I did. Did you get? Can you get them a loan?
Absolutely. I've got a great program for all of you that are self-employed. You've got decent credit, you've got money in the bank, but you just write everything off so that you don't have any high tax consequences. Everything's legit. Keep doing what you're doing, but don't take those tax returns to your bank because they are going to laugh at them. Bring your bank statements to me. Leave your tax returns at home. Bring me your bank statements, the last 12 months bank statements. I'll add up all the deposits. I'll give you 50% of it as income. And I can have an interest rate that is pretty close to what an investor would pay on an investment property right now. So our interest rates on bank statement programs are extremely attractive. Self-employed, I've got the program for you. All right, Cleve.
So tariffs, going over what, like, I was talking to somebody that actually thought tariffs were going to skyrocket the price of new homes. And it's like, do you know how much steel is actually in a house?
Yes, not that much.
It's about 10%.
I don't even.
And then
I'm
if the
I'm
lumber's
shocked
from
that there's that
Canada,
much.
yeah. And then, but the main thing, your appliances, some of your fixtures and
Sure.
hardware and stuff like that. So what I'm seeing is it might increase the amount of a new home by about 2 or 3%. Let's say $10,000 on the average house,
Right.
but or 2% on the average house. But I'm seeing some builders have price enhancements where they're
Right.
not moving as many homes as they want. They've got a certain number that like literally their only job is to sell homes.
That's right.
Not like a seller can go, if I don't sell now, I'll wait, or I'll take it off the market and wait till fall, wait till rates come down. Builders got to move homes. They got to
Absolutely.
keep plugging along. So I'm seeing some have some price adjustments. I'm seeing the return of like I don't know what your builders are doing with all their costs. Are you able to get people like fixed 5% with
Oh
Hanover
yeah, we can with Trinity Family
with
Builders.
Trinity? Yeah.
They'll pay all your closing costs when you use the loan arranger, or you can do a buy down program. We can get you down even in the 4% range with a buy down program. There's all kinds of ways to offset affordability
Yeah.
right now, and builders are working. You just got a matter of fact a text from one of my builders, Larry Ayala at Trinity, and he said that they are. What are they doing? Are
Well,
they?
their price enhancement was about 5 or 6% of a reduction on. Now, this was a couple homes.
That's a couple of
It was a
inventory
couple
homes.
of inventory homes. So because the builders are also saying, well, wow, these have been sitting here, they're finished.
Yes.
We're burning up,
We need to-
we
we
need that
need
capital back into the market to build more homes. And I'm sure they're selling homes every week. They're probably selling new homes. So they know they know their pace they need to run, depending on if they're going to build 150 or 300 homes for the year. They know what they need to have in inventory. They don't want too many in inventory.
And Larry and Allison are up in Trinity Lakes in Groveland area. We also have communities with Trinity in Leesburg, Eustis. They're building one in DeLand. They've got St. Cloud, Claremont, Mineola. You name it, they got it, and they'll pay your closing costs when you use a loan arranger. And Cleve and his buyers team can show you the properties. They will help you negotiate with any builder out there.
Yep. When we come, we got a couple minutes, Bruce. Next segment, I want to go into renovation values, return on investment, on what's the best things to get a house ready for.
Absolutely.
I had somebody that just stopped from doing a major re-landscaping in the yard, like $10,000-15,000 on a $500,000 home. I'm like, hang on. They were also, and really they needed to spend a couple thousand on the inside and get a storage unit. We're going to dig into that a little bit. So what do you see? I'm hearing about Fed cuts in the next couple months. Where do you think these rates are going to go as we get trade
First of all, I
deals
don't
in?
think the Fed's going to have a Fed cut on our next meeting.
I think June or July, though.
I think
They're
so
talking
too.
then.
That's
Yeah.
my
Not
prediction.
May.
It's not going to be now. And quite frankly, I don't want them to. When we come back from the next break, I can explain to you listeners as to why I don't want a Fed cut, because all of you would think, oh, Bruce, you should want a Fed cut because it's going to lower interest rates. We're going to talk a little bit about that and what Fed cuts do, why they do it, and what impact it has on the market so that you are better informed. In the meantime, we've got all kinds of people that are still sitting on the sidelines wanting to buy, but they don't buy because of interest rates. So interest rates are they improved this week. We had some improvement. Now, Wednesday was a little bit rocky, but the most of the week we started to settle things down, and interest rates I locked some rates in the mid sixes. And I locked a 15-year
Which
in
has
the
literally
high
been
fives.
about normal for the past 18
It
months.
most certainly is. And 15 years are becoming more and more
But when they're
popular
working with you, Bruce, you can tell them that this is, you can get somebody that's got a 650 score over a couple of months. You might be able to get them up to 700 where their rate would change, right?
Absolutely.
So, all right. So you want to reach Cleve Loveland, you need to buy something, sell something, make a real estate plan. You want to become a landlord. We'll show you how to do that with our Leapfrog system. Call me at 407-352-8118 or go to cleveloveland.com.
Yeah, or call Bruce Woodburn, Cross Country Mortgage. I am the loan arranger. You can reach me now at 407-250-9144 or go to WeBringYouHome.com. Get your application started. I've got loan officers on call 7 days a week. You can always reach me. I give out my personal cell phone number so that you have access to me. If you're interested in buying or refinancing, and we're going to talk about refinancing when we come back as well, and renovation loans. So don't go anywhere. Cleve Loveland and I will be back in 5 minutes. Cleve can be reached again at 407-352-8118. 888-118 or the Loan Arranger at 407-250-9144. We'll be back in 5.